Hello, my friends. I'm just going to try to do an audio today because I forgot to set my camera up as I got started. So I'm just going to try to record audio and I'll just put some pictures up as background to it. So it is Thursday and it's hot. It's like 87 degrees right now already. It's like just noon. It's going to be like 95 today, so trying to get a training right in before it gets too much hotter. And while I have a quick window between two lessons. So I am on Miss Ellie, and she's a little bit distracted. She keeps wanting to stop and itch her face today. So just kind of trying to keep my leg on, keep her walking, and start off the bat with what we kind of started with last week in my previous video of her training ride, where I'm turning her off my outside aids and I'm bringing her shoulders around my inside leg from my outside leg. And then my reins are pretty quiet and soft because she's a little bit hollow in her neck, a little bit elevated in her neck. So I want that to come down and out through the base of her neck. So I don't want the top of her neck to be tense. I want it to be relaxed, and I want the base of her neck to kind of lift forward so her head telescopes down into my rein contact. She is walking along pretty well. She kind of starts out with this like huffy puffy, like moving somewhere walk. And then after a few rounds, she kind of starts to slow down. The tricky part with her is when she slows down, she gets looky. So you got to kind of find that happy medium. So I'm just kind of walking and just getting a feel for where we're at today for her. She's starting to take both of my reins a little bit more willingly, stretching her mouth down into them. I'm riding her in the Agador's brand Calm Blue Boucher bit, or Bout Boucher, I think it's actually technically. It's a French style bit. It's also sometimes referred to as a hanging cheek snaffle. And I think she really likes this one right now because it takes away that pull pressure for her. So she can really learn how to open that part of her neck up and loosen her jaw a little bit more, which then also allows me connection to the hind end. It's amazing what the Boucher can do for a horse that doesn't have a connection. Oh, good girl. So she just started to finally release her head down softly. So the tricky part there is when they release down softly into the bridle, you don't want them to over curl and slow down, kind of start going from front to back instead of from back to front. So I got to keep the walk moving as she starts to relax here. As she starts to relax, I'm going to start to ask her to shape her body a little bit more. We are still tracking left. And as I start to ask her to shape her body, she kind of pops her head back up a little bit. But that softness is remaining. She's just putting her head up in the air because she doesn't quite want to give me her hind end yet. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to split my space. I'm just kind of working on almost a 20-meter circle area, but I'm turning it into like a rectangular oval shape to round my corners and just focus on kind of my outside aids in the turn, keeping her moving forward through those turns so that she doesn't lose her impulsion. And then the straightness will get there the more I get that hind end underneath me. So I'm going to split this area in half and do two smaller 10-meter circle oval things using the center line. I'm passing K currently. I'm going to push her out into my corner at K. I'm going to use my outside rein for balance. Inside rein is kind of open to my thigh, softly asking her to keep bringing her nose to the left. Use my outside leg, my right leg, to go up the center line. She's kind of a little bit alert, getting a little inconsistent, like, whoa, where are we going? I thought I knew what was going on. So I'm going to do that again. So I'm passing K again. I'm pushing her from my left leg into my right leg, my outside, closing my outside, sitting quiet into my left seat bone. She's a little steadier into my contact here. She just took a nice deep breath. Little bit better walk as we come up the center line, keeping all of my aids pretty consistent as we go. Good. Little drop of the shoulder. I needed to give a little extra left leg. She kind of does this thing where she gets stuck and just sort of has like a misstep with her left front specifically, but it'll happen with both. So I'm going to give her a break from the small circle. I'm going to come across the short side by A. Now I'm passing letter F, and I'm going to come across and down the center line going towards A this time. So I'm going to do a small 10-meter rectangular shape, kind of overshot the center line, lost our hind end in the process. So we're going to do that again with a little more preparation. As we came around the turn, she kind of just popped her head up out of the contact. So I'm going to be ready to do a little half halt a little sooner here. Get her back to me a little. I'm going to sit on my seat. Yep, good girl. Good girl. I'm going to start turning sooner. Half halt turn. Half halt turn. Push her through it. Keep that hind end coming. Good girl. Little bit sticky in that hind end still. So I'm going to do it one more time. She wants to get a little stiff and just kind of rush when I'm asking her to go on. So I just need to make sure I'm giving her the right sequence of aids at the right time. Good. Good girl. That's it. Yep. So I'm talking to her with my hands, half halting, bending, all at the same time. Both legs coming out of the turn. Yeah, much better. Much better. Good girl. And then we get a little bit more forward. So now, as we come around, she wants to get a little distracted for a second here. There we go. Okay. Now I'm going to go around my little oval shape that I was just doing. I'm just going to sit back in my seat, keep my leg on softly on each side, and just push my hands forward. And she took the stretch. Beautiful. I didn't change the length of the rein. I just changed the stretch. Then as we came to the corner, I can steer her with my seat. I wanted to keep my hands out forward. Good. And she allowed me to do it, but she came up in her stretch. So I'm going to ask her to stretch down and forward again. Good girl. Good girl. This way she loosens up that back and starts to get that hind end coming up to the bridle a little more. Good. Good. Yeah, I can make it a little bit bigger area now. Good. You always have to be careful with her when we change areas because she's very skeptical. She's kind of like, I don't like this. This is new. She doesn't like new things. Good girl. She's very opinionated. Like I said the other day in my other video, she's kind of prickly. So you have to watch her. All right, I'm going to do my smaller section again now that we've got a little bit of a stretch. Good, so I just turned it A. I overshot the center line a little, but I have a really long rein right now, so it's fine. I have a good walk. I have good connection, so the overshooting is fine. Good. Yep, keep going. Good girl. Excellent. Good job. All right, we're going to do one more out of the corner at F. I'm coming across the short side, asking her to just push that head and neck forward down. Take a nice deep breath. Good girl. Preparing for my corner at F. And then I'm going to prepare for my turn down the center line. Again, I want to try to keep that neck forward and low. Keep that walk. Good. Got a little stiff there, but she kept her rhythm. She just took a stiff step with her right front, which I'm not surprised at. Good girl. And then that left front got a little sticky there in the turn, but she did pretty good. Hind end kept coming, which was really what we needed, so that was super. Good girl. Oh, good job. All right, so we took a nice deep breath. We've got some stretch this direction. I need to see what we have the other way, but I want to do it with a stop. So I'm going to sit tall, close my seat and leg, my thigh, and I'm just going to close my hand softly, and we came to a nice stop. She's kind of chewing on the bit a little bit, but she's standing still pretty well, so I'm happy with that. All right, so we're facing left. We're facing the wall by K. I want to do a 180-degree turn on the haunches, so we are facing the wall by F. So I'm going to switch my whip to my right hand. I'm going to rock my seat back. I'm going to take my contact back with me ever so slightly, about half an inch. And then I'm going to put my left leg behind my seat to keep the haunches where I want them. My right leg's going to go forward. My right rein's going to stay against her neck. My left rein's going to open. We're going to do this one step at a time. I'm just pushing that right shoulder over and really trying to teach her, keep that hind end still. Don't rush. Good. Oh, no cheating. Cheating is when they move the hind end, not the front end. Good. And she really likes to do that. And she's sneaky about it because she's really good at twisting her body so that she uses her front end, not her hind end. So she wanted to plant her front end and move her hind end. And I wanted the opposite. I wanted the hind end planted and the front end moved. So now we're facing right. She did really well with that. I kind of took a pause and then I asked her to go. When I asked her to go forward, she was very wiggly. She's hollow on my left and I have a whole stiff board on the right. So I'm kind of keeping my right rein connected and my right leg on. And I'm just kind of asking her to find that shape by creating that line through my body. So we're going to stay on that same 20-meter oval type area with just a lot of inside rein connection right now. Yeah, good girl. And it didn't even take a whole circle before she started to release her neck. So that's good. She's learning. Okay, so I feel her tipping me way off to the left. So I'm going to keep anchoring my right seat bone so that she keeps figuring out how to use that side of her body a little bit and not push me off to the left, which allows her to counterbalance through that side. So I want this left side to come around and I want this right side to get looser. So the left side's got to take some bigger steps and the right side has to take supportive steps. She wants to kind of do the opposite. She wants to take big steps with the right and support short steps with the left. Good girl, that's better. She's relaxing down a little bit. But again, when she relaxes, I have to be quick with my outside leg to keep that left shoulder coming up because she's just weak on that side. She's strong on the right, weak on the left. Good girl. Okay, we've got a nice bend from head to tail. She's like, I kind of like to think of her as like being shaped like a banana when I'm asking for a consistent bend here. Good, she's starting to take both of my reins. We're getting a little bit like heavy in the walk, but it's a forward walk. So it'll get lighter the more she figures it out, but she's got to get heavy to kind of figure out how to use the contact. She's starting to come up under my left side a little bit better, which is great. Good girl. Good girl. Okay, so now I can start to think about my smaller areas. So I just passed K. I'm coming across the short side through the middle. I'm heading down the center line towards A. Okay, not bad. She wanted to pivot a little bit there and kind of lean into that right. So I had to kind of open, hold on my left, and kind of flex on my right at the same time, as well as put my right leg on at the girth and push her rib cage back out so she shapes her shoulder around my right leg. So I'm going to kind of prepare that sooner. So again, I just came out of the corner at K, looking down my center line at A. She's getting a little sticky. I'm going to give her a little tap with my whip. Get that booty around, girl. Yeah, good. And then she's like, oh my gosh, I'm going. So then she kind of surged forward, got a little stiff and straight, but that's okay. She's figuring it out. She's always a little kind of quicker to try to run away on this side because it's hard for her. I'm going to go ahead and go straight across now towards the corner by F because she's anticipating this hard turn right now. So I'm going to do it in a different spot. Good girl. I'm going to try to push my hands forward, get a little stretch. Sometimes if you can create that stretch, that creates the balance you're looking for, creates the connection. All right, I just came by F. I'm going to go up the center line at A, smaller 10-meter oval. Good girl. She wants to brace to the right a little and kind of jig out of that corner. I'm just holding my position, holding my reins. I'm not holding back. I'm just holding my position in general to keep her where I need her to be. Good girl. All right, so that was pretty good. She answered well to that. I'm going to do that one more time. Yeah, good breath. There we go. That's what we needed. Good. Okay, we just created a little flexibility through our rib cage and she didn't try to run out of our turn. So we're finishing our center line turn and I'm putting my right leg on and she actually just laterally flexed over to the left. Yay, good girl. Good girl. Laterally moving off my right leg into my left side. This is where we need her. Good job. Okay, I'm pushing her straight across the short side by A. I'm going to try my circle at K again. So I'm approaching. I'm going to get my right leg on. Oh, she's getting softer. Good girl. Softer means you put your leg on and you feel her body make the change. So I literally feel her body turning and bending around my leg when I put my leg on. Yeah, good. A little bit sticky, but again, not bad. She only rushed about halfway through and I told her to go straight. She didn't rush right away at the beginning of the turn down the center line. So I'm going to do it one more time. Coming up through the corner at K, I'm getting my right leg on, stretching that heel down. On her, I get kind of tricked into pulling my heels up and nagging a lot. I need to remember to use my calf muscles. So I'm using my calf muscle. Outside rein is open, left rein is open, right rein is holding her steady. That was much better. She was straighter. She didn't rush. She was a little hollow and tense. So we had a little shoulder mishap at the end, but it wasn't bad otherwise. So I'm going to go ahead and push my hands forward, let her take some big stretchy steps. Oh, good girl. So I've been kind of only riding her in the end by K and F. I want to make sure that she is capable of starting to go all around, further around the ring. So I'm going to try to go down a little bit further by E. And, oh no, did I stop my recording? No, I didn't. Okay, good. Sorry, first time using the voice recorder while riding and trying to put this in my pocket while I'm doing so is not easy without turning it off, but it's still recording without my lock screen being on, so maybe I'm in the right place. Okay, let's see, can I lock it and keep recording? Oh, I can. Sweet, that's exciting. That's much easier. Okay. Sorry guys, technical learning here. All right, so I've got a good walk. I was not paying any attention to her at all, and she kept her walk, so that's great. So I'm approaching E on the long side. There's some ground poles in the middle, so I'm just kind of funneling her through the poles, and she is looking at them. She's like, what the heck? Now, she just saw these on Tuesday. We used these on the ground on Tuesday for her. So this is nothing new, but everything is new when you're Ellie. Like Maggie has been sitting in the corner the whole time, but now she's in a funny position and she's itching, and that's scary to Ellie. She just like spooked at it. So sometimes, even though she's seen things a million times, things are new. So we're gonna go around that section again. She kind of spiraled her way in when she shied at Maggie a little, so I'm just gonna ride that line. Sometimes you just gotta go with where they put you. Good girl. We're getting our relaxation back. We're facing B, coming across the middle. Lovely. Good girl. We're still tracking right. So I'm flexing on my right rein, pushing my right leg on. Yeah, good job. She's thinking real hard. All right, I'm going to push her up into our trot. Hop. Good. So instantly, she's putting her head down well. I've got my left hand kind of wide and steady. Trot on. Good girl. So what I want to make sure of is that I have enough trot in front of me so that no matter what she wants to do, she's going forward. So I'm kind of using my seat to push her forward from behind, and I've got my legs kind of just anchored at my girth right now. She's giving me actually a pretty nice bend. She's got that nice banana shape. So because she's actually pretty flexible underneath me today, this is the suppleness I've been looking for. I can feel when she wants to twist her withers out. I can feel when she wants to brace through her shoulders a little. So this feels nice. I can kind of make adjustments. We're still trotting kind of a bigger area down by E and B, F, K, and A. Good. Good. Her best friend just left the ring, so we're going to have a little meltdown for a second. So I'm going to sit trot, keep her focused on me. Good girl. Good girl. You're okay. She's probably going to scream. She wants to get twisty. I'm just going to keep my right side connected. Good. We're going to do a small circle in the middle. Good job. Sometimes this type of impulsion is helpful to create a better connection. Yeah, good. Good. There, she just actually, it worked. She lifted her shoulders through her withers. Now I just got to get her a little bit connected here. Yeah, good. Straight line across the short side by A. Into the corner at K. Yeah, good. Super. Good girl. Good. Okay. This feels really good. This is a nice trot. I'm going to start to soften my hand now. See if I can trust her, if she trusts me. Yeah, she wants to stretch a little. I just need to make sure she keeps going and paying attention, because when she relaxes and then we relax and then we spook because we kick sand at a barrel, that literally just happened, slams on the brakes and spins. So, and that's kind of what she's learned to do when She was tossing riders last year. Well, get up. I just tapped her with the whip and she grunted at me like, how dare you? But she's not listening to my leg all of a sudden. So I'm making a smaller circle between the quarter lines by F and K, trying to get my trot back there because we kind of lost our impulsion. So we've got a little bit of negative tension energy here. So I'm just looking for that to relax again. Yeah, good girl. So I know. So I'm just kind of helping her along. I'm going to have her walk again here in a sec. So I'm just going to sit quiet. Yeah, and all I had to do was think it and she did it. So again, I'm going to stay connected. So we stay connected and I can get some balance. This isn't bad. Good deep breath. Good girl. Good girl. Yeah. Good job. Just keep that hind end under. So I'm just making sure I keep my inside leg active to keep her up underneath my left side. And then I'm going to do just a change of direction up the center line. I don't want to stop completely. So we're going to turn up the center line. Left aids are getting activated. Right aids are quieting down. Looking left. I'm going towards E. I'm kind of looking at E, pushing her out, but I'm not quite at E, so I'm pushing her out towards K. I just used E as like my focal point as I made my turn up my center line. It's helpful if you can kind of look ahead to a point that's farther forward, really, than where you want to end up, because then you can track your eye to where you do want to go. So I'm looking at F, but then now I'm looking at B because I want to go a little bit further down the long side again. And then from B, I'm going to look at the middle where X is, and then I'm going to look at E. And we're coming through the middle of 4 ground poles that are on 2 diagonals, and that looks weird to her, but it kind of creates a good funnel shape for her to look at. So now I'm pushing her out towards K. Now I need to be very mindful here because there's a barrel right by K and there's cones, and there's also like the sun is still at just the right point in the day where there's just a little glimmer of light there, which also creates shadows. So with her being spooky and wanting to look when she doesn't want to do things or relaxing and then getting spooked by things, like literally anything can happen with her. But with that tendency for her, I, as the rider, need to make sure that she is paying attention to me and I am paying attention to her. So I feel the moment that she wants to spook. And what I feel when she wants to spook is she gets tense and I can literally feel her eyes lock onto something. I look at her ears, the base of her ears and her poll, and those will kind of point to the thing that she's looking at and spooking at. So when she does that and she spooks to the outside right, okay, I'm tracking left. So I take my left side a little bit more and I make sure I sit back in my saddle, find my seat bones, and really just kind of guide her to the left bend and take her mind off of the thing she's trying to spook at. That is important. And that's a hard skill to have because that requires feel, being able to look at something different than what you're trying to do, and then see literally the tiniest little muscle movements in her ears and the base of her poll. So she's doing really well. We've just been walking our big circle that takes us K, A, F, B, E. She's doing great. She's a little heavy against my contact, but not bad. She's a little bit tense. I'm just pushing my hands forward now, and she's taking that stretch. But again, she wants to be a little bit to my left. So I'm just having to keep my left leg on a little bit more and sit on that left seat bone a little bit more, and then make sure I have my right leg keeping her going forward. That's the trickiest part here because I don't want to push her left through her body. I want her shoulders to come left, but I want her body to go right so that she gets a little flexibility through her rib cage. So she's pretty balanced for what she has to work with here. So I'm going to go ahead and kick her up to trot. I'm going to put my whip on my inside. Just realized I didn't do that, so let me fix that real quick. Good girl. I'm going to get a little connection. She got a little stiff when I lost my connection as I switched my whip. Good. And I'm going to wait until we just passed B. So I'm going to wait until I get over by K again to ask her to trot in a spot that I know she's not going to be stupid if she kicks some sand. Okay, because like I said, between E and K, sometimes she's a little silly. I don't know why it's that spot specifically, but everything just echoes just right over there, I guess. I don't know. All right, so I'm coming through the corner at K. I'm going to look at F, and I'm going to ask her to trot. Good. Nice forward trot right off the bat. Nice into my contact. Pretty well connected, stretching down beautifully. I'm watching those ears, making sure she's looking where she's going. She's actually picking her feet up quite well. Outside aids on, keep her a little bit away from the barrel just in case she kicks some sand at it. Good girl. You know, it's one thing to ride preventively, proactively, and keep the forward momentum going. It's another thing to ride preventively, negatively, and just completely avoid areas altogether. So I'm preventing proactively by keeping her bent. Got a nice trot. She looks great. She feels great. This is nice pushing from behind trot. I don't actually have to keep pushing her along right now. I've just done 3 big circles. She's got a nice left bend. She just came up a little bit in her head. So now this is where that preventive, proactive, I gotta keep asking for that bend here. Good girl. Yeah, she wants to get a little rushy, pop her head straight up. So I'm gonna make my circle smaller using my outside aids. Good. Her friend just walked through the breezeway. Minor distraction, but not bad. She's just a little tense. That explains why she popped her head up for a second there. Good. So she now wants to kind of be a little hollow. So I'm just using my outside leg. I'm now on like a 15-meter circle between K and F, quarter lines. And there's your low back again. Good girl. Now I feel that low back pushing me up, but I also feel her left hip dropping. So I'm pushing my left leg on behind my seat, pushing my right leg on in front of my seat. And then my right rein is pretty steady as a boundary line for her. My left rein is also pretty steady, but it's giving her a little bit of shape. So every couple beats, I'm just flexing her nose to see if I can get her to come around. Yeah, with her head and neck. Good girl. There we go. All right, I'm going to go ahead and push her back out to my bigger area again. So really lost that left hip on that one. But she got out to where I needed her to be, so I'm not going to make a big deal out of it. We're just going to spiral down and spiral out again. So I'm passing E, pushing my left leg on to push her out to my right side. I'm going to have to be a little bit better with that timing there when I do that again. So now I'm passing A, I'm spiraling in, left leg behind me, steady, right leg on forward, left rein, open a little, bringing her nose around. Good girl. Good girl. At A, I'm going to start to push her out, open my right side, keep the left hind. Yep, tap with both legs here, coming through the corner, think half a mile per hour more forward. And I say forward, not faster, because I don't need faster. Just need her to keep going. Good girl. Okay, that was pretty good. I'm going to try that one more time. Spiraling in, I'm passing A again. Good girl. A little bit rushy, a little bit stiff. This left hip is hard for her to balance on. She doesn't want to do more with it. She wants to do more with the right side. So I'm going to push her hip out, hold the front end, little half halts on each rein, kind of alternatively here. Yeah, to keep her focused. Good girl. Good. Yeah, super. And then she kind of asks for a stretch. So I'm going to allow it, but keep it moving. Again, ride preventive, proactive. The stretch is where she gets dropping those shoulders. So we got to watch those. Good girl. Pushing her out into my corners. Good job. Straight ahead. See if we can do 4 straight lines, 4 corners. 1 corner, 1 straight line. Straight line to B. Square corner to E. Straight line across. A little bit drifty. Good. Corner to K. Better. Straight line. Better. Yeah, good. Corner across A. Good job. Good job. Oh, that was pretty good. All right, I'm going to go ahead and just close my leg on my thigh and walk. Good girl. And I laughed because she just did it. As soon as I closed my thigh, boom, down to walk. So when you start to think about asking for it, remember your horses are going to feel this and they might just be ready to walk. So you be ready to drop that seat down and find your saddle and let them come into that walk that they felt you think about. When you think about intention, it can change a lot for your horses. So you want to kind of just think about, what am I going to want from my horse today? Where's my intention going to go? So I'm super happy with that. That was pretty positive. I think that I want to get a little bit more from her, but I'm going to let her walk for a second. And then I'm going to do my, oh, stop. We have already walked by this pole 5 times. Now that we're not doing anything super major, you're going to spook at it, silly. So I'm still holding a little bit of connection on my reins, but I'm trying to give her like as much of a free walk as I can. And again, she wanted to spook at a pole. We've just trotted by both directions. So never let your guard down. I want to just use my center line exercise a couple of times at the trot to do a change of direction, but I might have to be willing to go bigger circle for a lap in between each change of direction. So I'm going to kind of start with that. So I'm going to pick up in a moment, I'm going to pick up my trot on my largest circle, B to E, K, A, F. And then I'm going to spiral it down from K to A, up the center line, back around to K again. It's going left. And then I'm going to go all the way around, and I'm going to do that again. But this time, when I come up the center line and I'm near X, I'm going to turn right to go towards the wall between B and F. And then I'm going to trot all the way around my big circle, F, A, K, E, B. And then back to my small circle at F, and then I'll change directions there. So it's going to be a little bit complicated, but I'm going to try to ride it as simply as I can. But I'm also talking through what I'm doing on her. So we'll see if we can follow along. All right, so I'm connecting my reins back up. She's staying pretty connected. I'm still tracking left. She came a little hollow, but I can put my leg on and tell her where to be. So this is progress. Good girl. All right, I'm passing A. I'm going to go ahead and pick up my trot to F. Good girl. And I really wait until she gets trotting to go into my post so that I know she's actually going to commit to it. So I'm just getting my rhythm where it needs to be, getting my connection where it needs to be. It's a little stiff, but I think those smaller circles will help. Yeah, there's some impulsion. Okay, K, A, center line, overshooting it. It's fine. Keep your bend more than anything. Good. Back out to K. Good girl. Good girl. She's a little stiff and rushy, but again, she's staying where I put her. She's trying. All positive things. Good girl. Okay, I'm on my big circle, F to B, still tracking left, over to E. Now I'm going to turn K to A in a moment. And then when I get to X or near X, I'm going to turn right. So as I come up the middle, I need to sit straight and take my right side as I approach. So turning at A, center line, sit straight, right side connect. Good, I'm pushing her through it because whenever we do changes of direction, it's always a big surprise to her. So I'm using my voice, clucking in a rhythm. She's a little bit against my right rein, so this is why I'm using my big circle all the way around. We kind of have her nose to the right and her ears to the left. So we've got a lot of tension here to work through. There, she just figured that out. Try on. Good. There, so she's really kind of bracing through her withers and her pole. So I'm gonna look for A, just past F, look for A, up the center. She's getting real braced here. Just focusing on straight up the middle. Find my right flexion. Back seat of the saddle. No hind end there on that turn. All the way around my circle. Just get my trot. There. Good. It's a little rushy. This is a hard exercise for her. I'm going to connect my contact a little shorter. Good. Ooh, easy. Easy. Good. Sometimes when she gets like this, it's easy to feel like you need to do everything for her, but that just makes her more fidgety. So I'm just going to try closing my leg. Here's my turn. Change directions. A to K. I'm going to sit my turn. Good. So I can help her through it. Good. Easy. Good girl. Good girl. Okay, so now we're tracking left on my 20 meter. 30 meters, really good. Okay, I'm at E. We're definitely a little tense through this exercise. I'm probably pushing the buttons a little bit, but that's okay. Just gonna get a couple days off. Okay, center line. Lost the hind end again because she's so tense. It's okay, I'm turning right. I'm gonna sit again. Really use my seat. Drive it forward. Good girl. I can keep a better connection to the hind end this way. So I'm gonna try to sit my whole 20 meter, which is hard because she is tight and trying to bounce me off. Good girl. Good girl. So I have to kind of give on this right rein. Yeah, now she's where I need her with her head, neck, and body. She's real heavy in my hand, but it's okay. Up the center, both legs on. Change my bend. Left side connect. Shorten up quick. Trot, trot. Good girl. Still sitting. Good. Yep, push that hip out. Push the shoulders in. She says, oh, we don't want to. This is hard. Trot, trot. Trot, trot. Good. Trot, trot. Good. She says, oh, this is very difficult. Very good. So I could feel she was tense. Someone was walking in. I didn't want her to spook. So I just kind of slowed her trot down a little bit and helped her push on. All right, so I'm passing K. I'm going to go up A, turn towards F. Trot, trot. Good girl. I know. This is hard. Good job. Sit tall. Good. See, sometimes I have to remind myself of things. I needed to sit tall. I wanted to collapse forward a little there. Good. Trot, trot. Good girl. Good girl. I've got my right leg just kind of pushed against her, and I'm just pushing it along. I'm going to go right into my next turn at A. Yeah, good girl. Yeah, because she was right there on my right bend, which is where I want her. Now we're on our left bend at K. We just did our change of direction. So much better. I just have to kind of let my heel push against her rib cage a little. I'm going to do one more each direction. So center line, turning right. Right leg pushing that rib cage under. Yeah, there's some softness through that back finally. Good. When I can feel my hips starting to bounce and smoothly bounce, I know I'm getting there. Good. Push, push. Good. Sit tall. Turn left. Left heel on. Yeah, good. Best turn out of that left side yet by K. And then I'm just going to quiet and walk. She says, oh, thank you. Finally, that was so hard. Oh, I know. Good girl. All right. So that's where I'm going to call it for sure, but I'm going to walk her a bit. So this was a good, positive, productive ride. We're starting to get there. I have to just keep pushing her through these hard parts, which is hard because she doesn't want to, but she's willing to try. I just have to find the right way to support her. And so if something ever feels like it's not going well in your ride, just like think about how can I make it easier? And that sitting trot is what helped her. Now, not all of us are great at sitting trot. It's not always my forte, but if you can shorten the trot enough, you can feel the back better, and then you can get your sitting trot where it needs to be. And then you just have to think, breathe, and focus more on where you're trying to go rather than how horrible the sitting trot is. Because the more you focus on that, the stiffer you become because you're trying to make it better and you're just making it worse, and it just becomes this whole problem. So if you just think about where am I trying to go, I just need to keep my seat in the saddle, find that saddle, relax my hips a little bit, and then use my legs to tell her where I need her to be. The more you think about that, the more you're going to be able to connect with your seat. The more you don't think about that, and the more you think about how hard the sitting trot itself is, then the harder it's going to be for you to connect to your horse. And then whatever line you're putting your horse on, just think, support them. You got to keep holding that connection. It's okay to feel your horse a little at the end of the rein. If you don't feel the horse a little at the end of your rein, then you need to shorten your rein or push them up from behind more. You don't really want to have to be pulling the horse back to your body if you don't feel them at the end of your rein. So keep thinking forward, positive forward momentum. Keep the line simple. Make sure you give walk breaks. If you're on a horse that's spooky, don't go full buckle and look on your phone, right? I'm guilty of that when I'm on like Charm because he's so easy. So like when I'm giving him walk breaks, I'll like answer text messages on the phone. There's been times where I have done business calls while I'm riding him because he's just so simple sometimes. But don't be complacent. Know your horse, know the horse you're on. Remember, the horse that you're on 5 minutes ago might not be the same horse you're on right now. 5 minutes later, 10 minutes later, yesterday versus today. Like everything's always different. These guys have living, breathing animals. They are living, breathing. They have brains, right? They have instincts. And so you have to remember these things. So I am going to stop her and hop down and go give her a shower and let her go back out to the pasture. This was a super ride for her. She was great. So I will keep you guys updated on next week rides. Thanks for listening, and I hope you enjoyed.